Alright, I'll start with a spoiler warning. I just recently beat Final Fantasy 16. Give my whole opinion on it. There will need to be some spoilers. So, Final Fantasy 16. Story of betrayal, politics, rebellion, and God being a douche. Let's get into it. Start with the gameplay, since this new installment is an action game, which is a point of controversy in the fandom, but we won't get into that here. Let's begin with what I feel is the only not stellar thing about the game, that is the main attack combo. To be blunt, it's boring. Most action games have a few main combo attacks you can use by either delaying your attack combo to trigger a different finishing move, or weaving your heavy attack into certain parts of the combo, or a mixture of the two, adding a fun complexity and non-monotonous basic combat. Unfortunately, the only variety that this basic combo in Final Fantasy has to offer is the interweaving of the magic burst ability, and even that's kind of stale, since all it does is add an extra hit to your combo. It doesn't really add anything except damage. That being said, this game hits every other note perfectly. The combat is seamless. Not once did I encounter a point where the game lagged or screwed up a dodge or a counter because of bad game design. The icon abilities are flashy, devastating, and have a unique traits akin to the icon it's attached to. For example, Garuda is a high speed, low damage, high stagger icon with abilities that complement this type of play. To add to this, there are unique accessories that can be found or bought that can increase damage or reduce the cooldowns of iconic abilities to make that summoning their abilities that much more devastating. While we're on accessories, let's talk gear and stats. This is important to any RPG. But to be blunt here, it's pretty basic. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. There's like 4 main stats, right? For the weapons, you've got damage and stagger. And for armor, you've got defense and HP. It's a good thing in my opinion. The progression of gear and stats is simple. You just go for the one with the higher number. It leaves out some unnecessarily complex things about a game, like dexterity and who benefits from what stat, wisdom, intelligence, MP, old RPG stuff that doesn't really need to be in this game. So it's not really an issue. So I think keeping those complex things out of a game like this only really helps. The only thing I wish they had was elemental weaknesses to add a little more flavor to either items or the icon you choose to embody in combat, because having like wind aspect when you're using Garuda on your sword would be pretty cool. And have that kind of play into kind of like a Pokemon-esque weakness and strength wheel type thing. I think it would have been a little bit more interesting. As with most Final Fantasy titles, the story is the whole reason we showed up. And from start to finish, FF16 and the director, Yoshi P, they showed up and did not let us down. The overarching themes of slavery, political discourse of rival nations, the rebellion of our protagonist Clive and the group he finds along the way, all this weaved into the main story of the crystals, icons, the blight, and the cause of it all. The themes really stood out in this game because of how raw everything was. From the characters cursing and spilling blood on screen, to children being taken away, and all because they can innately use magic and they're branded from birth. A big black mark that all the branded have on the side of their face. In some cases, the children are taken or killed the moment they're born. The story is dark and gritty and also full of hope, and the many side quests you encounter throughout the game only add to FF16's already compelling story, all while adding character depth not only to our protagonist, but all the characters we meet through our adventure, the important ones and the unimportant ones. There is something to be said about how graphics are peaking with our current technology, but leave it to a Final Fantasy game to take it to the next level. To start, the cutscenes are immaculate, absolute pristine works of art that should be praised and be the gold standard for any AAA studio from here on. The game itself is also an absolute graphical masterpiece. From the lush environs that stretch out into the horizon and the giant crystals that grace the land, I stood in awe the first time I saw the forest in the first mission after getting to the hideaway. And again, when the Mother Crystal for the old Holy Empire of Sanbreque was shown. Stunning. Absolutely beautiful. The design of the icons was phenomenal and held true to their previous incarnations, and the design of all the abilities Clive has access to is incredible. The icon fights will go down in history. Not a doubt in my mind. Every single one of them was epic to no end. And every time you think it can't get better than this, the game says, hold my beer. I shed a tear for how beautiful the game looked for the Bahamut fight. I have no words. Moreover, the cast who brought these characters to life did a fantastic job. And I haven't confirmed this, but I think Yoshi P brought in a few goated voice actors from Final Fantasy XIV. The map used to travel the world is intuitive, and the amount of fast travel points is great. The content is large, and I feel a lot would have been taken away from the game if you spent half of it running through plains just to get to your objective. All of this coming together to make the wonderful world of Final Fantasy XVI come to life on our screens is working. My rating for this game, easiest 10 out of 10 in my life. I'm a longtime Final Fantasy fan, and despite my issues with the basic combat, it didn't make the game any worse. Final Fantasy always had a way of presenting a story, and presenting it well, and also trying something new. Final Fantasy VII's Materia system, or Final Fantasy VIII's Junction system, are just two off the top of my head, and while action games aren't new, this is a step away from the old turn-based combat systems that many fans are used to. But the icon abilities give it a good old Final Fantasy embellishment. I'd highly recommend this game to new and old fans alike, and let me know down in the comments below what you guys think of the game. Thanks for watching.